Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, the judges and all people who watch this video. Let me introduce myself. I am Muhammad Haikhal Fazad and I represent Madrasah Aliyah PPMI Salam. And now I will deliver a very important topic about climate change, especially on how every country in the world can take part and take action to get on it. Climate change is actually an earth way to make itself more habitable for all the creatures who live in it. For the last 10,000 years, since the civilization began, the global temperature increase is just under 1 degree Celsius. But since the industrialization began, where coal and other fossil fuels is much more common to use, the global temperature increased up to 1 degree Celsius. In 2017 alone, we emitted a total of 51 billion tons of greenhouse gases, such as nitrous dioxide, methane, and carbon dioxide, which is emitted the most. And every year, there's always a record-breaking disaster happening in our planet. Recently, wildfires in California, and then in the start of the year, wildfires in Australia. More storms coming to tropical countries and glaciers melting faster and faster in the Arctic and Antarctica. And all of that with just 1 degree of increase. The scientists believe that in the year 2100, the global temperature will increase up to 3 degrees Celsius. Seeing how catastrophic 1 degree of increase already, they said that we should limit the global temperature increase up to 1 and 1.5 degrees Celsius. And how do we do this? By decreasing our emissions go to zero as soon as possible. The 2015 Paris Agreement is a foundation that every country should decrease their emission. They need to determine, they need to plan, they need to execute, and they need to report how is their effort to reduce emissions. But in 2017, President Trump announced that the USA will withdraw from the agreement, which is not shocking for me because like most of the countries in the world, many countries in the world, the biggest supporters of the ruling government is the industry that still need to use fossil fuels and coal to work. And it's also a problem in many major oil producing countries, like in the Middle East, for example. Now, ladies and gentlemen, most of the largest emitters of greenhouse gases are the developed country. Historically and annually, China, USA, and the European Union are the largest emitters of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases. Carbon emissions are today closely tied on how wealthy someone is, how high standard of living. If more carbon emissions is emitted, meaning that the country is more wealthier than the other. Because as humans move to poor to rich, we get access to electricity and other modern transportation such as cars and airplanes. So the developing countries have no choice but to also industrialize to make themselves wealthier and the citizens of their country have better ways of living. While the developed country are doing this because they want to make themselves richer than they already is, and it's already their standard of living, it's already their lifestyle. And the developing country that's still industrialized now are showing their efforts to reduce emissions. But unfortunately, the developed country who make themselves richer and richer is emitting more carbon than the developing country, but have no signs, have no showing of interest to decrease their emission. The top three emitters of global emissions are the China, USA, and the European Union. They're responsible for 50% of the world emissions today. Unfortunately, the biggest victim and the one who lost the most because of climate change is actually not them, but the developing country who's still struggling until now. The developed country are the ones who need to start the movement to slow the rapid climate change. They are the one who emitted the most. They are the one who also have the technology, have the resources, have the high-skilled people to produce a low-cost and low-carbon solution and spread them around the world. If developing countries doesn't want to be too dependent on fossil fuels, meaning that the renewable energy needs to be reachable and need to be cheaper than the fossil fuels. The good news is now that the renewable energy is coming much cheaper and cheaper day by day. If developed country showing their efforts, showing their willingness to fight climate change, then the rest of the world will follow. For example, when the EU announced energy efficiency standard for the technology coming into the European Union country, the rest of the world follow the standard. Why? Because the whole world still want to trade with the EU, because now it's how the world works. The developing countries should also make regulations to prevent environment damage and also try to have more renewable energy and resources. So the developed country are showing their efforts by producing, and the developing country should also showing their efforts. Everyone need to show their effort to decrease their emissions. Because climate change is a global problem, so everyone must do their best to tackle this issue. Because right now, no one do it rightly. But if every countries in the world can take part and take action together, especially the developed country who emitted the most, who have the capable resources and can affect the other countries to do so, then we will get much faster to the future with zero emission. Maybe this is all from me. Thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.